start with these villagers, right? I don't think we particularly know exactly 100% the details here, whether or not this is real, whether or not this is faked. Let's just start with what these villagers say what happened. I want to play a piece of this Spanish news report here, and then we'll come back and we'll translate this and we'll talk about exactly what is happening here. And you can start with this gunfire. Watch.
Se trata de habitantes de la tribu Iquitu del distrito de Alto Nanay en Loreto, quienes denuncian ser víctimas de violentos ataques por parte de seres desconocidos.
Necesitamos apoyo para nuestra comunidad. Los niños, mira, se ve, los niños no duermen, están ahí las madres desvelándose, señores. Son extraterrestres estos señores, son vestidos con blindados, son tipo del hombre verde que parecía el hombre araña, igualitos, son señores. Yo les valió 2 veces y no caen, en vez de que caen se elevan y se desaparecen, señores.
Okay, so we saw gunfire, it's dark. We hear the tribal leader talking about this. What was he saying, and what were we seeing in these first few seconds of this news report?
Okay, so this incident began when a 15-year-old girl was abducted by strange beings in the jungle. She's from this village. These are the Iquitu tribe, members of the Iquitu tribe. It's the village of San Antonio. It's in the district of Alto Nanay, near Iquitos. And apparently this 15-year-old girl was abducted, and she was able to break free from her captors. She ran back to the village. She sustained lacerations to her neck. There's pictures of her online with her neck bandaged up and bloodied. And you can actually see the lacerations. And when the villagers found her, she was in a state of shock. I read that she was in shock for a few hours, couldn't talk. She was just terrorized, absolutely terrorized by whatever had happened to her. And at first, I think the villagers, they didn't know what happened to her. They assumed that whoever had attempted to abduct her were human perpetrators, and so they grabbed their guns and they started running through the jungle looking for these individuals. And instead of finding human beings, what they encountered, ostensibly, were these strange entities, which the villagers themselves are calling extraterrestrials, definitively. They're very unambiguous about this. And in that video, that's what that gentleman is saying. He is the leader of the tribe in that particular village. And they've been terrorized not just one day, but ongoing for weeks. And this has been happening primarily at nighttime. He said that they're not sleeping. The videos that have surfaced show these guys shining their flashlights around the trees that surround the village. They're shouting. They're obviously in a genuine state of terror. All the women and children are huddling together in the middle of the village as the men are walking around the perimeter with their guns and flashlights, and they're firing at something in the jungle. They've got shotguns, they've got rifles, and they're shooting at something in the jungle. And according to these gentlemen, these villagers, what they're seeing are 7-foot-tall entities that are arrayed in silver armored bodysuits. The gentleman makes reference to the Green Goblin from Spider-Man, and what he means is that in the same way that character in that movie had that bodysuit with armor on it,
right?
That's what he's talking about, in a mask. Sometimes they're saying these entities have a mask. Sometimes they're saying also that they're dressed in cloaks with hoods. But I think they're referencing to the legend of the pelacaras, the face peelers, who approach these villages and try to abduct people, and they're often dressed in cloaks. They're saying that one of the interesting details is that these entities apparently have discs on the bottom of their shoes that project a red light, and that enable them to float off the ground through the jungle about 1 meter off the ground, and they can also lift off into the air. So when the villagers fire at these entities, they see them, they shoot them. The entities are apparently bulletproof, and they disappear or they float off into the jungle. That's what they're saying. And the way that they're describing these entities disappearing is reminiscent of the Predator from the movie, where they sort of disappear, but you can kind of still see them moving around. And in fact, There's videos of the villagers flashing their flashlights, and they actually in one video they see the entity that appears to be behind a tree up in the sky, either sitting in the tree or floating behind it, and they put the flashlight on it, and I think, now of course this is subjective, but I think you can actually see the entity. It moves its head and it looks like a large gray alien, and it has that bulbous head with the large almond-shaped black eyes. In fact, you can even see the flashlight shining off of the eyes, and it slightly moves its head around. And I believe that is actually what these natives are encountering, and what they're shooting at are these beings that they're seeing with their flashlights at nighttime. So I don't know what exactly is occurring there. I can't confirm or deny any of it, but I will tell you this. The villagers were so distraught that they demanded the presence of the Navy to come and help them with this problem, to protect them, to defend them against whatever this is that's attacking them. They haven't been getting sleep. They've been staying up all night, the men, in a state of vigilance, and they're very distraught. I mean, that is for sure. Whatever's going on, these people are very disturbed by what's happening. The Navy showed up. The police were on the scene. They did an investigation. And what did they conclude? I believe today, the Peruvian press, by the way, has been taking this very seriously.
I was going to say, in a lot of the reports I've watched out of Peru, you'd think that you do it how the United States does it, sort of jokingly. They'll play X-Files music, behind it. They'll say, now to a funny story in Las Vegas where a group of people think they saw aliens in their backyard. They didn't handle it that way at all. The Peruvian press across the board has been treating this as very serious.
Gravely serious. That's how they've been treating it. Interestingly enough, today there's an official narrative coming out
from the Peruvian government.
From the Peruvian government, the Navy is saying we investigated and we've determined that it's minors. It's illegal minors. It's illegal minors. So there is a historical precedent for this. Exactly.